Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. This video is going to be a little bit longer than normal. Obviously, I haven't done a blog post for the market wrap or the market outlook. Reason being is we're doing a few changes to the website, so haven't had opportunities to upload that. So I thought I'd just do a bit of an outlook today, kind of highlighting the key data to watch for, what's happened with the strength and weakness of the currencies, and where our focus should sort of lie this week, or what currencies we could expect to see a little bit of movement from. So have the key news highlighted here in front of us for this week. So Monday, pound data has already come out. So we've had the pound composite manufacturing and services PMI data. That was all negative. So we saw a little bit of downside, or a little bit of bearishness in the pound from the London session. Tuesday we have the RBA meeting minutes, so this is going to be something where you're going to have to look at your risk on the Aussie, and the last meeting was pretty much a positive for the RBA. They see no need to cut rates further. They did say they will act if they need to, and obviously there's a risk with trade talks and things like that. But now a trade deal phase one has been done. We don't know quite what the whole deal is, or the outline of the deal, but there is reports that the deal has been done. Obviously Trump has talked about the deal being done as well, so that should add a little bit of positivity to the Australian dollar. Wednesday, we see Euro, Pound and Canadian CPI data. This is all forecast to come out the same as previous. So no real changes. Kiwi GDP figures are forecast to be lower, which is something that we're going to kind of see in a little bit in terms of looking at the currency strengths table. Thursday, Bank of England interest rate decisions. So this is pretty much the biggest news of the week, I'd say. Rates are expected to stay the same at 0.75%. But this is the first time where Brexit is almost a certainty after the Conservatives won a majority in the UK general election last week. So pretty much Brexit will likely happen. When that is, again, we don't know. But there is obviously a more likelihood that is going to be passed because of the majority of Conservative in government. Friday, pound GDP figures expected to stay the same. Bank of England could highlight any changes in the meeting minutes, so have a look at the Bank of England statement and pick out pieces from that. Also, the dollar, we have GDP figures which are expected to stay the same at 2.1%. So that's the key news that we've got to watch out for this week. Keep those in your watch list and make sure you're not really trading on lower time frames at these key moments. So be aware of that. If I bring in the strength and weakness table, we can see there's been some changes in the market. Obviously, there's been more of a risk on sentiment in the market, as we can see, because the Swiss franc and yen fell, and Aussie and Kiwi gained value. So typically that means that we're in a risk on market. But should we expect that to continue? Well, the Kiwi dollar actually went up past 5. Now, typically when I look at the strength and weakness tables and how they work, essentially you have a +7 to -7 figure, and anything around -5 or +5, 6, I'll start looking for reversals. So what I mean by that is when something is sort of -5, I look for the strength to come into it. If it is +5, 6, 7s, I look for weakness to come in. So that's why pound for me is one way we could look for some potential shorting opportunities in there. It's been at 6 for a while. It's coming up into some key resistance points as well. So pound is definitely on the list to maybe look for some shorting opportunities, but we do have to remember that the seasonals are pretty strong for pounds, so it might just be short term. Okay, so make sure that you always take a look into the overall market conditions. So we're looking for shorts on pound short term, nothing long term. Kiwi actually says that we gained a little bit of strength, but if we actually go, if we were to look at the strength and weakness meter, it went to +5 last week and then dropped slightly towards the end of the week. So there could be a little bit of Kiwi weakness coming into play. So I want to start to have a little look at that Kiwi short, which is what we talked about last week, really. We took some positions, we banked them a little bit early, but now price has come into some key resistance levels. So we'll take a look at that as well. Obviously, Swiss and yen have been our biggest movers. Now, looking at yen, we're at -7s on yen. This is an extremely weak currency. So, to me, that's either, is that going to continue or are we going to get that reversal? So, we need to have a look at that as well. Okay, so those are our strength and weakness currencies. Obviously, Australian dollar, as well, I didn't mention, is still gaining in value quite considerably. So, for me, Australian dollar, I'm still happy to be a buyer of. Now, we are in Aussie Kiwi long. The market did move against us, but it's now coming back towards our entry. If we just take a look at this daily time frame, I did say that there may be a potential for the market to find a potential double bottom before moving higher. That's why our stop losses are placed below the recent swing lows in there. So we could expect this to continue higher. I really like the idea of this moving higher in terms of the strength meter, Kiwi topping out, and Australian dollar starting to gain value. So that could be definitely something to continue looking for. There may be extra opportunities on the way up. So if we see a break of this 4-hour high in here, we could look for something like, let me just get the pen tool, something like this forming for those long opportunities in there. Obviously, if price breaks down, it will take us out, so our idea is invalid, but this is what I'm expecting to happen from Aussie Kiwi. Just focusing on the Kiwi for a moment, there's still some key things that are going on here. So Friday we had this really nice pin candle form on Kiwi US dollar. Price came up into this key resistance level number of 6,600, previous area where the market has found some support in the past. We've come back up to this level. The price is forming higher highs and the RSI is forming lower highs, suggesting that we have some bearish divergence here on the Kiwi. So there's some potential for us to look at some shorting opportunities in here with targets back at this support level, the recent breakout highs. So looking for that on Kiwi as a potential this week. Obviously we had that short-term short trade last week, but now the market's come up into a new extreme and showing us this bearish divergence. We could see that pullback start to form. Kiwi CAD I really like. I think this is a market that we could look at. Now obviously monthly we were looking for the bullishness out of this market because we came from this key supporting zone. Now we're back at a key resistance zone, so you can see, we'll just zoom in. Let me just take that screen drawer off a second, zoom in and get that pen tool back out. We can see that the market has bounced from this area numerous amount of times, and this is one of the areas we actually spoke about when we go on to a lower time frame. So if we go to a weekly, it was these weekly sort of lows running through here where the market could expect to find some resistance as well. We can see that the market's formed a bearish sort of rejection of this level through here. Daily time frame, you can see that we're starting to form some triple bearish divergence, which could be an idea to look for some short back into this area of support through there. So Kiwi's definitely one to keep an eye out on. Obviously Australian dollar, something that could be interesting to have a look at buying. We did have Euro Oz shorts. We got stopped on that we would have got stopped on it anyway, but we got stopped by about 15-13 pips. which is unfortunate in the end because I like the idea of buying Aussie dollar. So we could look at some other markets to buy it against. Euro is still gaining value, so it might not be great to look at it against the euro. But you know, Swissy, yen, or even looking at the potential to sell pound Aussie could be something of interest. Just going to the pound, you can see that the market is up at this yearly high currently. We look like we're starting to reject that as well. So that to me is a big level on pound US dollar that we could look to exploit. Obviously, we've been at quite a high on pound for a while, so what I'm expecting to happen from this is a potential fall back all the way into this 1.3 level. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of projecting here on pound before we see any kind of significant longs. The commercials are adding big shorts in here as well, so you know, we could potentially see another move down for the pound from here. So I'm watching this quite diligently. I like the idea of getting short on the pound, just looking for a decent area to do so. You know, the 4 hour may start making lower lows, which could be good to take a look at. So if I just bring in pound Oz for a second, because that's something that we've just been discussing, we'll likely see pound Oz looking pretty bearish. So let me just get a different chart. Let's just swap it out for this Aussie Swiss chart. So let's just bring in pound Oz. I did have it a second ago on the side. Where is that gone? Okay, yeah, pound Aussie in here. Just let the chart load in. We can see that there is a potential double top forming, RSI divergence again. So if we just take a look at a weekly time frame and just zoom out through there, get rid of this. Is the old data from the Aussie Swiss chart. That's just producing on the in here. So pound Oz is actually a long way up, and if we take a look at this weekly time frame, the last few times it's been in this oversold condition, we see a little bearish move. It's not usually a lot, but you know, there's a good couple of weeks of bearishness. Now if this is gonna pull back, where's it gonna pull back to? And we always look at those previous breakout points. So there's a breakout high in at around about this 1.0980 just in here. So if we go back down to the daily time frame, this could be an area that the market targets again. So quite like the idea of looking at this potential double top pattern forming as well on the 4 hour time frame. If we take out this low around about 19276, we could look for some short opportunities in and around there. So quite like the idea of shorting pound Aussie if we can see some kind of decent follow through of this move in here. What I do like as well is just if I just bring back in the drawing tool, have a look at what's happening here. So we're starting to get these higher highs throughout here, and the RSI is forming lower highs all the way through. So it's almost like the higher high was forming at this point in here, and then the RSI is just moving lower every time we get those higher highs. So lots of bearish divergence in here, so could be some decent shorts to play here on pound Aussie. So I'm going to leave the video there. I've been running for about 13-14 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this video update. I hope you enjoyed the longer view of it. If you did, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment below what you think you want to see in these videos. If anything I can help you with, drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you very soon.